In the heart of forgotten towns and shadowed forests lie the skeletal remains of once bustling mental hospitals. These abandoned asylums, known in their darkest days as treatment camps, were far from the sanctuaries of healing they purported to be. Instead, they became places where suffering was locked away and hidden from the world. The gates, now rusted and chained, echo with the whispers of lives long silenced, and the buildings themselves seem to breathe a malevolent presence. Walking through these forsaken corridors, one is immediately consumed by a chilling atmosphere, thick with the weight of despair and forgotten cries. The peeling paint on the walls, the shattered windows, and the eerie silence broken only by the creak of old floorboards all contribute to a haunting tableau that feels pulled straight from the depths of a Reddit horror thread. It is in these shadows where history and the supernatural intertwine, revealing grim stories of neglect and torment. These institutions were meant to treat the mentally ill, but for many, they became prisons of pain. Patients endured treatments that were often more cruel than curative, and their stories were buried beneath layers of bureaucracy and stigma. Yet, despite the decades that have passed since these hospitals closed their doors, the past refuses to remain silent. Paranormal phenomena, ghostly footsteps, disembodied voices, and inexplicable cold spots persist as if the very walls are imprinted with the trauma of those who suffered within. As we step through the rusted gates and into these haunted grounds, we prepare to uncover not only the dark histories etched into their foundations, but also the restless spirits that linger, waiting to tell their tales. This journey will challenge our perceptions of mental health care's past and invite us to confront the unseen horrors that still haunt these forgotten places. Our exploration begins here with the echoes behind rusty gates, a prelude to the chilling encounters and tragic histories that await in the chapters ahead. Brace yourself, for what lies within these walls is far more than mere memory. It is a haunting legacy of pain, resilience, and the unknown. Emerging from the shadows of Pennsylvania's landscape, Pennhurst State School and Hospital stands as a grim testament to the darker side of institutional care. Founded in the early 20th century, Pennhurst was initially established with the intention of providing care for children with developmental disabilities. However, the reality quickly diverged from its hopeful beginnings. For decades, this sprawling complex became a site marked by neglect, abuse, and systemic mistreatment, casting a long shadow that stretches well beyond its closure in 1987. The stories from Pennhurst are harrowing. Inside its walls, children and adults alike endured cruel conditions, overcrowding, unsanitary environments, and harsh disciplinary measures. Many were subjected to treatments that today would be recognized as inhumane, a reflection of a time when fear and misunderstanding governed the care of the vulnerable. The hospital's history is riddled with lawsuits and exposés that revealed rampant physical and emotional abuse, making it a symbol of institutional failure. Yet, even as the physical structures have fallen into ruin, Pennhurst's legacy refuses to fade quietly. Visitors and paranormal investigators who venture into the decaying buildings often report unsettling experiences that hint at something far more than mere echoes of the past. Electronic voice phenomena, EVPs, have been captured. Whispers and cries that seem to come from nowhere, voices that convey sorrow, anger, or desperation. Many speak of an overwhelming sensation of being watched, as if unseen eyes follow every step through the darkened halls. Some recount chilling moments where the atmosphere thickens and an icy presence presses against the skin. There are accounts of sudden, inexplicable physical sensations, pushes or brushes, as if invisible hands are attempting to communicate or warn. This blend of historical trauma and the paranormal paints a haunting portrait of Pennhurst, where the pain of past inhabitants seems to seep into the very foundation. The hospital, abandoned and silent, becomes a threshold between worlds, a place where suffering has left an indelible mark not just on history, but on the spiritual fabric itself. In reflecting on Pennhurst, we confront not only the grim realities of institutional neglect, but also a profound question. Can the echoes of human anguish transcend death? The paranormal phenomena reported here suggest that the answer may lie somewhere between memory and mystery. As we move forward, Pennhurst's story sets the stage for further exploration into the haunted legacies of these asylums, where the spirits of the past continue to reach out, seeking acknowledgement and perhaps some measure of peace. Following the sorrowful echoes of Pennhurst, our journey leads us to the imposing silhouette of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, nestled in the hills of West Virginia. This sprawling fortress of stone and iron once housed thousands, its walls bearing witness to the crushing weight of overcrowding and despair that ultimately sealed its fate. Constructed during the mid-19th century, Trans-Allegheny was initially designed to provide care for the mentally ill, embodying the era's best intentions. Yet, as decades passed, the patient population swelled far beyond capacity. At its peak, the asylum housed over 2,400 individuals, crammed into spaces meant for a fraction of that number. The overcrowding led to deplorable living conditions. Patients often slept in hallways, hygiene standards plummeted, and resources were stretched thin. Staff members, overwhelmed and undertrained, struggled to maintain order and provide adequate care. The psychological toll on both patients and staff was immense, a pressure cooker of human suffering and institutional failure. This oppressive environment bred not only physical ailments, but also deep emotional and mental anguish. The despair permeated the air, and many who lived or worked there left with invisible scars. The asylum finally closed its doors in 1994, but the stories it left behind refused to be silenced. Visitors to Trans-Allegheny today often recount chilling paranormal experiences that seem to echo the pain and trauma once contained within its walls. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the eerie sound of children's laughter, disembodied, fleeting, and hauntingly out of place in the desolate corridors. These spectral giggles can shift suddenly to sobs, a haunting reminder of the countless young souls confined within. Doors are said to close on their own accord, sometimes with a force that startles even the most skeptical. Shadows flit just beyond the edge of vision, and sudden drops in temperature send shivers down the spine. Some have felt invisible hands brush against them, a sensation both chilling and sorrowful. To understand these occurrences, one must consider the link between trauma and the paranormal. The overwhelming stress and despair endured by patients and staff may have imprinted themselves on the asylum's very fabric, an unseen residue of pain that manifests as ghostly phenomena. These spectral interactions are not merely tricks of the mind, but perhaps echoes of lives yearning to be acknowledged and understood. In a recent dialogue between two paranormal investigators exploring Trans-Allegheny, the emotional weight of the place became palpable. "Did you hear that?" whispered Sarah, her voice barely audible over the creaking floorboards. A faint, distant laughter echoed through the hall, chilling and childlike. "I did," replied Mark, eyes scanning the shadows. "It's like the building itself is alive with memories. I wonder if these spirits are trapped by the same overcrowding that imprisoned them in life." Sarah nodded slowly. It's heartbreaking. Their pain was ignored, and now they might be reaching out, trying to tell us their stories. Mark sighed. Maybe acknowledging their suffering is the first step toward giving them peace. Their conversation encapsulates the profound connection between the asylum's tragic history and the paranormal activity reported today. Trans-Allegheny stands not only as a monument to past failures, but as a haunting reminder that the echoes of trauma can transcend time, urging us to remember and reflect. As we leave the somber halls of Trans-Allegheny behind, the chilling sounds and spectral whispers linger in our minds, compelling us to delve deeper into the dark histories that haunt these forgotten places. As the fog settles over the New England landscape, our journey brings us to Danvers State Hospital in Massachusetts, a structure steeped in mystery and melancholy, its legacy immortalized by the chilling horror film Session 9. Unlike other asylums, Danvers' story is marked not only by its architectural grandeur, but also by the hidden labyrinth beneath its foundations, a network of underground tunnels once used to transport the departed. Constructed in the late 19th century, Danvers was designed to be a beacon of progressive mental health treatment. However, its shining promise soon gave way to grim realities. The hospital's sprawling corridors and imposing facades concealed darker truths. Patients were often subjected to harsh treatments, and the institution's overcrowding and underfunding mirrored the struggles seen in its counterparts. Beneath the hospital lies a series of tunnels, winding and claustrophobic, that served a somber purpose. These passageways facilitated the discreet movement of corpses, away from the eyes of patients and staff alike, an unsettling reminder of the hospital's routine encounters with death. Local lore suggests that these tunnels are not merely relics of the past, but active conduits for restless spirits. Nightfall in Danvers brings with it a chorus of eerie sounds. Residents nearby have reported piercing screams echoing through the darkness, often described as anguished cries that refuse to fade. Visitors and paranormal investigators alike have recounted unsettling experiences, cold spots that chill to the bone, fleeting shadows darting just beyond sight, and a palpable sense of being watched. One such account comes from a local historian, Emily, who recalls her visit near the tunnels. "I was exploring the grounds when suddenly a scream shattered the silence," she said, her voice trembling with the memory. It wasn't just any scream, it was raw, filled with despair. I felt compelled to follow it, but the deeper I went into the shadows, the heavier the air became, like the weight of untold stories pressing down on me. Emily's experience echoes the sentiments of many who have encountered Danvers' spectral inhabitants. The tunnels symbolize more than just physical passageways. They represent the buried secrets of mental health treatment, stories of pain, neglect, and the quiet suffering that history often overlooks. In conversation with a local community elder, Thomas, the complex relationship between the hospital and its neighbors is revealed. Danvers was always a part of this town's identity, Thomas explained. People depended on it for care, but they also feared it. The screams at night, the strange lights, they were reminders that this place held more than just patients. It held ghosts, both literal and metaphorical. Their dialogue underscores the lasting impact of such institutions on surrounding communities, a blend of reliance, fear, and the haunting presence of unresolved history. As we stand at the mouth of those shadowy tunnels, the whispers of Danvers State Hospital invite us to confront the buried layers of mental health care's past. The screams, the shadows, and the silent corridors all compel us to remember the human stories entwined with these walls, stories that demand acknowledgement as much as they inspire dread. From the oppressive silence of Trans-Allegheny to the haunting cries beneath Danvers, our exploration reveals a tapestry of suffering and spectral echoes that continue to shape the legacy of abandoned asylums across America. As we step away from the chilling echoes of Danvers State Hospital, the shadows stretch across the country, leading us to 7 more abandoned mental institutions, each with its own dark history and lingering hauntings. These grounds, scattered across various states, share a haunting narrative of neglect, suffering, and the mysterious phenomena that seem to rise from their forgotten walls. First, we visit Eloise Asylum in Michigan, once one of the largest psychiatric hospitals in the nation. Originally a poorhouse and farm, Eloise evolved into a sprawling complex housing thousands of patients. Its decline was marked by overcrowding and underfunding, leading to its closure in the 1980s. Today, the ruins of Eloise attract urban explorers and paranormal investigators alike, who report hearing disembodied voices and footsteps where no one walks. Traveling eastward, Rolling Hills Asylum in New York offers a grim tableau of 19th century mental health care. Known for its harsh treatments and overcrowded wards, Rolling Hills has become infamous for paranormal activity. Visitors have recounted sightings of shadowy figures in the hallways and unexplained cold spots that seem to move with intention. The asylum's history of patient abuse and neglect lingers palpably in the air. Kentucky's Waverly Hills Sanatorium, originally a tuberculosis hospital, later housed psychiatric patients and gained notoriety for its high death toll and rumored experimental treatments. The infamous body chute, a tunnel used to discreetly transport deceased patients, has become a focal point for ghost stories. Paranormal enthusiasts frequently report eerie moans, apparitions, and the sensation of unseen hands brushing past them. In New Jersey, Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital stands as a colossal testament to the past's flawed approach to mental health. Its gargantuan structure once housed thousands in often deplorable conditions. Despite attempts to modernize and eventually relocate patients, Greystone's decaying halls are said to echo with ghostly whispers and the haunting laughter of former inmates. Beyond these well-known sites lie additional abandoned grounds, each with their own stories, silent testimonies of forgotten lives and untold suffering. Common threads weave through each location: overcrowding, mistreatment, and a profound sense of abandonment. These elements, combined with the intense emotional and physical trauma endured by patients, seem to have left an indelible mark, one that transcends the physical decay to manifest as paranormal phenomena. Together, these 7 haunting grounds compose a landscape of spectral residue, where history's darkest chapters continue to play out in the whispers, shadows, and unexplained happenings reported by those who dare to enter. Their stories compel us to confront not only the ghosts of the past, but also the systemic failures that allowed such suffering to persist. As we prepare to delve deeper into first-hand accounts of terrifying encounters in the next chapter, the collective weight of these haunted locations reminds us that the legacy of these institutions is far from silent. The spirits of neglect, pain, and forgotten souls remain restless, inviting us to listen closely to their unsettling tales. As dusk falls over these desolate asylums, the veil between the present and the past seems to thin, allowing those daring enough to step inside to brush against the unseen. The stories that emerge from these haunted halls are as chilling as the cold drafts that wander their corridors. Tales told by security guards, urban explorers, and YouTubers who have ventured into these forsaken places, only to encounter phenomena that defy explanation. Take, for instance, The account of Marcus, a longtime security guard at the abandoned Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital. On one quiet night, while making his routine rounds, he reported hearing faint whispers echoing through the empty wards. It wasn't just the wind, Marcus recalled, his voice steady but tinged with unease. I distinctly heard a woman calling out, her voice filled with sorrow. When I followed the sound, it abruptly stopped. The hallway was empty. His experiences didn't end there. On another occasion, Marcus witnessed a shadowy figure darting across a stairwell, only to vanish before he could get a closer look. It felt like the building itself was alive. Watching, he confessed. YouTubers and paranormal investigators have also documented unnerving episodes. Jenna and Liam, a duo known for their haunted explorations, visited Rolling Hills Asylum with cameras in hand, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. During their live stream, viewers witnessed doors creaking open on their own, unexplained cold spots, and fleeting glimpses of silhouettes just beyond the camera's focus. What unsettled them most was a segment of footage that mysteriously disappeared from their recording. We were in the middle of an EVP session when everything just went blank, Jenna explained. Later, we found that several minutes of video had been erased. It was like something didn't want us to see. Tourists, too, share their own spine-tingling experiences. One visitor to Waverly Hills recounted feeling an overwhelming sensation of being watched, followed by the chilling touch of an unseen hand brushing against their arm. I spun around, but no one was there, they said, eyes wide with lingering fright. Another tourist described hearing the distant but unmistakable sound of children laughing, an echo from the asylum's tragic past that faded into silence as suddenly as it had begun. These encounters reveal more than just ghost stories. They expose the unpredictable and often dangerous nature of confronting the unknown. The allure of paranormal investigation draws many to these sites, fueled by a fascination with what lies beyond the veil of our reality. Yet, as these accounts demonstrate, the spirits or whatever forces inhabit these ruins do not always welcome intrusion. The risks are real. Lost time, missing footage, unexplained physical sensations, and psychological distress are common among those who linger too long. In a candid conversation, Marcus shared his thoughts on why these places continue to beckon the curious despite the dangers. There's something about the mystery, the history. People want to connect with what happened here, even if it's painful. But you have to respect it, he advised solemnly. As we reflect on these harrowing testimonies, the question remains, are these phenomena manifestations of residual trauma, echoes of suffering trapped in time, or something far more enigmatic? The unpredictability of these encounters warns us that beneath the crumbling facades of these institutions lies a realm where the past refuses to rest, and where those who seek answers may find far more than they bargained for. Moving forward, we will delve deeper into the whispers of these forgotten souls, pondering whether the spirits that haunt these forsaken asylums are bound by the pain of their past or by the ignorance of the present. The journey into the unseen is fraught with peril, but it is a journey that beckons us all to listen closely and tread carefully. As the shadows lengthen over these forsaken asylums, one cannot help but wonder, do the spirits of the forgotten truly linger within these crumbling walls? The evidence, told through countless chilling encounters and unsettling phenomena, suggests more than mere coincidence. These places, once heralded as sanctuaries for healing, were often prisons of pain and despair, where suffering was hidden away rather than alleviated. The very architecture of these institutions tells a story of confinement and control. Narrow corridors, barred windows, and locked wards were designed not just to treat, but to contain. Patients, many of whom were vulnerable children, the mentally ill, or disabled, were subjected to treatments that today appear inhumane, their voices silenced by stigma and neglect. This dark legacy casts a long shadow, one that may have left an imprint not only on history, but on the very fabric of these places. Consider the possibility that the paranormal phenomena reported, the whispering echoes, spectral figures, inexplicable cold spots, are manifestations of this residual trauma. Could these be the lingering expressions of pain, fear, and sorrow trapped in time, replaying endlessly within the asylum's confines? The idea is haunting, that the emotional energy of suffering might persist long after the physical bodies have gone. Yet, this reflection demands more than fascination with ghosts. It calls for an ethical reckoning with the past. How did society justify the treatment of its most vulnerable? What lessons can be drawn from the neglect and abuse that transpired behind these rusty gates? Acknowledging this history is crucial, not only to honor those who endured unimaginable hardship, but to ensure such mistakes are never repeated. In a revealing dialogue between two historians specializing in mental health care, Dr. Emily Carter and Professor James Langley explore these themes. Emily, when we look at these abandoned hospitals, it's easy to get caught up in the supernatural stories, James began. But beneath that, there's a very real human tragedy. These places weren't just haunted by ghosts. They were haunted by the failures of a system. Emily nodded thoughtfully. Exactly, James. The paranormal aspect might be seen as symbolic, the spirits representing the ignored and forgotten. It's a powerful reminder that the pain inflicted here didn't just vanish. It transformed into something that still lingers. James sighed, and as we study these histories, we must confront uncomfortable truths. The stigma, the cruelty, the indifference, they're all part of the story. Recognizing that is the first step toward true healing. Their conversation underscores a vital point. The hauntings are more than eerie tales. They are echoes of society's past mistakes. As we stand before these derelict institutions, we are called not only to listen to the whispers of the forgotten, but to learn from them. In contemplating these abandoned asylums, we confront an intersection where history, trauma, and the paranormal meet, inviting us to reflect on what it truly means to heal. The question remains, are these spirits bound by their pain, or are they silent witnesses urging us to remember, respect, and reconcile with the past? As we close this chapter, let us carry forward a solemn respect for those who suffered in silence and a commitment to honor their stories, not just through ghostly legends, but through the pursuit of compassion and understanding in the present day. As we reach the end of our journey through the shadowed halls and forgotten wards of these haunted asylums, the story does not end here. Rather, it opens a door, an invitation to each of you who have walked with us through these dark histories and unseen horrors. The echoes we've heard are not merely whispers from the past. They are a call to engage, to share, and to explore the mysteries that still linger in the corners of our collective memory. Have you ever felt a chill in a place abandoned by time? Seen a fleeting shadow where no one else was? Or sensed that inexplicable presence that defies explanation? These experiences, personal and profound, form the tapestry of our understanding about the unknown. We invite you now to step forward and tell your stories, to add your voice to this growing chorus of curiosity and wonder. Creating a community of open-minded explorers is more than just sharing tales of ghosts and hauntings. It is about fostering respect for the histories, traumas, and truths that these sites embody. Through your accounts, we learn not only about the supernatural, but about human resilience, fear, and hope. Every story deepens our connection to the past and enriches the conversation about what lies beyond the veil of the ordinary. Looking ahead, this channel will continue to delve into the enigmas that dwell in forgotten places, ancient ruins, forsaken homes, and otherworldly phenomena that challenge our perceptions of reality. Each new mystery we uncover will be an opportunity for us all to question, wonder, and perhaps understand a little more about the unseen forces that shape our world. In closing, the invitation stands. Join us in this exploration of darkness and light. Share your experiences, your doubts, your beliefs. Together, we will navigate the boundary between the known and the unknown, honoring the past while embracing the mysteries yet to come. Remember, the unknown is not something to fear, but a realm to approach with courage and curiosity. As you step beyond these rusty gates and into the night, carry with you the spirit of inquiry and the respect for those whose stories have yet to be fully told. Until we meet again in the shadows, keep your senses sharp, your mind open, and your heart ready for the next haunting discovery.